Welcome to Mama Made. My name is Melanie. I'm a digital artist. Today, I'm going to show you the entire process of this painting that I did for my Lofi channel. It's a channel that I made with my partner over 6 months ago. He's in charge of the Lofi music, and I'm in charge of creating cozy and relaxing background and a little bit of animation. I'm going to show you all the mistakes that I made and all the right things that I did for this painting.
Spoiler alert, there are going to be a lot of mistakes and right things.
Alright, let's get started with roasting my own painting that I did 6 months ago. I started with these thumbnails that I did on the top of the page. I didn't record that process because I just didn't feel confident enough to record that process. Designing is very difficult for me at the beginning stage. I have a general idea of what I wanted, but it's really hard for me to put it on paper for certain drawings. So after that stage, you can see that I picked the first one that's on the left. I just blew up the thumbnail drawing and then started drawing on top. The red line in the middle is my horizon line, and this is one of the mistakes I made early on because I didn't keep this horizon line on the canvas all the time. So later on you can see that I was basically ignoring it, not because I was dumb I guess a little bit, but I was thinking about other things, too many other things, that it's hard to keep everything in check. So that's one of the things that I will be doing from now on, which is to keep my perspective lines, or at least a horizon line, on the canvas to keep reminding myself where it is. At this point, everything still looks pretty good. When I moved on to coloring, that's when I started to ignore the horizon line. But here I was still trying to add more details, designing every single thing in the picture plane, like the kind of plants, where do I want it, the rocks, and their exact placement. Even though this was kept on the rougher side, I would say it's clean enough to serve as a guide for the painting stage. I would say I spent a little too much time on the bushes, especially on the edge, because later on I used a completely different brush and the edge just doesn't match up with the shape of the brush. So next time I wouldn't spend so much time making sure the edge of my drawing looks nice. Alright, here is the grayscale part. It is a crucial part of my painting process. This is where I figure out all the lighting. For example, here is mainly from the campfire. I should have added my secondary lighting at this stage just to make sure everything is designed out, is thought out. The secondary light source will be the nighttime light source that's coming from the right. And then I would go back and add in some more details, some more drawings, because I didn't. And looking back, I feel like I could use a slightly different color for the foreground, midground, and background, so it's easier for my eyes to see what they are. Now we moved on to coloring. This is actually the color rough stage. I was pretty proud of myself not render a certain stain or a certain plane before blocking all the colors in. Oh, another mistake was I should have labeled things as I go. I guess I was kind of doing it right now, but when I was at the drawing stage, it wasn't really labeled. That's why I started doing it right now. You can kind of see from the tree trunk that my horizon line is no longer at the original place. It was more higher up at this point, which makes the campfire look a little bit weird. Also, I should have kept the grayscale structure that I already established on top of everything instead of painting right on top of it. I think I was trying to save time here by just not using so many layers. But what I would have done now is to copy all those layers and then combine them, put it on top or on a separate monitor to keep reminding myself of the entire value structure. I only have the thumbnail on the top to remind myself, but it was a very, very rough value structure. I have the background to be a medium value and the midground to be the lightest and my foreground will be the darkest. But my midground is actually a very big space and there are a lot of things in there. I would totally just figure everything out in there in the value structure. In the end, it turned out okay, but it involved a lot of adjusting back and forth. I think I would have saved a lot of time if I just figured all that lighting out in the value structure stage. Here I am just filling out the flowers. I had the light on at this time to record my hand, so the screen was kind of hard for me to see, but turning it into grayscale kind of made it easier. Just me keep on rendering every single thing in the picture plane. Mistake number, I don't know how many. I shouldn't have spent so much time rendering this flower. I have 3 in total, so I definitely wasted a lot of time rendering them, especially they are the darkest value and at night, so they are actually very, very dark. So you wouldn't be able to see the details at all. And second of all, I blurred it in the end for the animation, so that was totally time wasted painting these flowers. I also spent a lot of time cleaning these edges. I don't actually know if it's worth it. I love painting these frogs. Oh, I was adding spots and pimples on the back, but I later on decided not to because it looked too much like a toad And I don't like those pimples on a frog. Everything is going too fast for voiceover Mel to see, but I don't want this video to be too long. I know these painting process videos can get really boring, so I'm trying to keep these short and straight to the point. If you like this painting by now, please subscribe or leave me a like. I would really appreciate it. Another mistake is I'm using too many layers here. Back then, I wasn't really confident in painting things all in one layer because I didn't start my sketchbook yet. And just either out of habit or just not confident in painting things in one layer, I used a whole bunch of layers in the painting. It made the file really heavy, and it's hard to keep track of what's in what layer. I think I would keep one object all in one layer, so I can still move them and adjust their position or scale later on if I wanted, but I don't have to grab a whole folder of it. It might not look that way, but this painting is taking me so long. It took me a total of 10 hours, judging from the time of this recording. I spent a lot of time rendering the pebbles, but it actually painted over entirely because I don't like how it makes the entire painting look kind of messy. Not messy, but there's too much going on. And that is where my main character, Relaxo, is going to sit. So I really want the focal point to be on the character and not on the ground that she's sitting on. After adding the reflection of the water, it was looking really just too much, so I dulled the reflection a lot. Here comes the character rendering drawing part. I really like her pose here. Here's another mistake. I should have just used a thinner line to match up the Studio Ghibli style that I was referencing from. And at the same time, I wouldn't use as many layers because I completely drew this over in Procreate in order to animate it. I would have kept all the flat colors on one layer and the shadow on one layer. This is the version that the time-lapse recording ended with. I have the fire, I have the little character in there. But later on, I had to do some changes in Procreate Dreams to animate this scene. And then later on, I actually went back to adjust a few more things, like I didn't really like how the bushes were looking in the back. And I want this to be printed out at a larger scale. After I enlarged it, it just looked like too many details are missing. So this is version 2 of the painting. I kept the fire that I did in Procreate. I feel like it just fits better in the scene, and I also redrew Relaxo with a thinner outline, and I added a secondary lighting that's kind of poking through the trees in the back, and then some more details on the flower, the fuzzy ball flowers in the back. That's pretty much it for this video. Thank you so much for staying up to this point. If you think this video is helpful, please leave me a like, comment, or subscribe to my channel. That will help me to create more videos like this. Until next time, bye! That's it for this video. Thank you for watching if you stayed all the way here. Wait, that sounds weird. If you stay all the way...
If you stay throughout this whole video, if you stay till this point, until thank you so much if you stayed all the way to this point, up to this point. There you go.
Up to this point.
Thank you so much if you stayed up to this point.
That's pretty much it for this video. Thank you so much for staying all the way up to this point.